Tonight on CTV News at 5.
It's tense, it's difficult, it's scary.
Borderline nerves. Canadians feel uneasy about our relationship to the South.
It's better patient care, more timely care, plus it's reducing wait times in multiple areas of the hospital.
Happy anniversary. The Deanne Reeve Pelvic Health Suite celebrates 1 year of serving patients.
I think that was always the dream, but I mean, I would say it was pretty far off when he first started.
He got the call. A former Cape Breton goalie coach earns a position with the Habs.
Cold and breezy conditions along with scattered flurries to close out the week.
Live from the Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 5.
Good evening and welcome to CTV News at 5. I'm Maria Panopalis. Thanks for joining us. First at 5 tonight, fear factor. A new study suggests the majority of Canadians are approaching the year ahead feeling uneasy about our relationship with the United States. The survey also found that 2/3 of Canadians give Donald Trump a failing grade for his first year in office. CTV's Avery McRae has more on the spiking skepticism. Avery.
Maria, for years, Canada and the United States seemingly went together like peanut butter and jam. But over the past year, that relationship has undergone some serious change, and it has people feeling uneasy about what's to come in 2026. The seaside town of St. Andrews thrives off the traffic of American tourists each summer. While people here still welcome Southern travelers, families like Brian Owens aren't as eager to return the favor since Donald Trump returned to office.
The only time I've been to the States was for transferring through on a flight, and it was a little nerve-wracking going through customs because you never know what's going to happen.
It's concerning a lot. It reflects history in a way that makes me a bit nervous.
A new poll published by Angus Reid found the majority of Canadians are worried about what's to come in 2026 as it relates to the two countries' relationship. 79% of respondents say they are more fearful about the year ahead, leaving just 21% feeling more hopeful of what's next. Retired political science professor David Johnson says Donald Trump has a lot to do with it.
He is economically waging war against this country with tariffs. And I think people are feeling that.
And that may be why 61% of Canadians say they followed more U.S. news than usual in the past year. The raids carried out by ICE are a big driver behind the added eyes, which as recent as yesterday were conducting operations in the state of Maine.
We see it in New Brunswick right now with ICE agents on the border of New Brunswick and Maine in Calais, and it makes all of us very uncomfortable.
But today, Maine Senator Susan Collins posted an update, letting people know ICE has ended its enhanced activities in the state of Maine.
I think a lot of New Brunswickers will breathe a sigh of relief to hear that.
Johnson says ICE operations shouldn't impact Canadian travelers regardless.
ICE is dealing with immigration and customs enforcement, people looking at people going after people who are seeking to get into the United States illegally.
That doesn't mean Canadians are quick to want to book a trip.
Some of the comments about not needing us on the world stage really bothers me.
Living on the border regularly, you were back and forth, right? And I have not been across the border since January of 25.
And Maria, this relationship will be thrust into the spotlight in the weeks and months ahead as the Canada-US-Mexico trade agreement is up for review this year, which will impact partnerships in both the near and long term. Maria?
Isn't that the truth? Thank you, Avery. CTV's Avery McRae for us in St. John this evening. That actually brings us to tonight's web poll. We are asking, how do you feel about Canada's relationship with the United States in the year ahead? You've got three options. I am optimistic, I am pessimistic, or I am indifferent. Just go to ctvnewsatlantic.ca to weigh in and to see the latest poll results. All right, over to the anchor desk we go now, where Todd Battis is standing by with the headlines.
Thank you, Maria. The stepfather of Lily and Jack Sullivan, the Nova Scotia siblings who have been missing from their Pictou County home since last May, has been charged with forcible confinement and sexual assault. Daniel Martel was arrested Monday. The charges involved an adult victim. We will have more on the story. Details from Bruce Frisco coming up at 6. Canada's premiers and the Prime Minister have presented a Team Canada United Front. The second day of meetings in the nation's capital saw the leaders talk about trade and cutting down interprovincial barriers. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith also mused about moving her province's oil to the East Coast by rail. Nick Moore has been watching events, and he'll have a wrap coming up at 6. Canadian Blood Services says donations are down due to the recent bad weather and illness, leaving them short of supply. The organization is now pleading with people to roll up their sleeves and to help across the Maritimes and, in fact, the entire country. We'll have more at 6. All right, let's bring in Kaylin Mitchell. Everybody's not only talking about what we just went through, but what's on the way. I know you're going to talk about current conditions, but we're all really eager to hear about the next few days.
Right, the Sunday to Monday time frame, which is when parts of the Maritimes are expected to be impacted by that nor'easter that'll be developing on the eastern seaboard of the United States throughout this weekend. Certainly has the potential to bring in some heavy snow and high winds, especially for the province of Nova Scotia. Now, as we're moving into this evening around the Maritimes, it's quite cold out there. Most of the temperatures in the range of -7 to -11, -12 at Edmundston, the northwest of New Brunswick. Winds are breezy and out of the northwest, so wind chill is a factor in a lot of parts of the Maritimes at this hour. Wind chill values are making it feel between -14 and -19. Winds out of the west and northwest and being sustained in most cases between 10 and 30 kilometers per hour. We're getting a few gusts reported between 20 and 40. Taking a look at weather conditions on radar and satellite, there'll be a few clouds around for tonight and a chance of some flurries for some areas. The chance of flurries as we make our way through the night will be highest around the north of New Brunswick, parts of the southwest of Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and locations in Cape Breton. There's a coastal low pressure system far to the east of us at the moment. We're not experiencing any weather impacts from that coastal low, but that next coastal weather system, the one developing on the weekend, that's got a higher potential to be disruptive for us here in the region. In fact, Environment Canada has issued a special weather statement for the period of time from Sunday afternoon through Monday. Potential snowfall in Nova Scotia of 15 to 30 centimeters, accompanied by wind gusts of between 60 and 80 kilometers per hour. So I'll have more in the forecast later on. Maria.
Yikes, Kaylin, thank you very much. All right, time for our next story here. The Deanne Reeve Pelvic Health Suite at Dartmouth General Hospital is about to celebrate its one-year anniversary. CTV's Mike Lamb updates us now on the facility and how it's improving the lives of its patients.
We're at the Deanne Reeve Pelvic Health Suite. 1 year after opening, this dedicated space has significantly improved access for pelvic health care at the Dartmouth General Hospital. In this suite, we perform gynecologic hysteroscopy and urologic cystoscopy. Hysteroscopy is using a minimally invasive camera to look inside the uterus, where we can diagnose bleeding, polyps, fibroids, and often treat these conditions at the same visit. Urology is a similar procedure using a microscopic camera to look inside the bladder, where multiple urinary symptoms can be diagnosed and treated. So by creating the suite, we managed to create more space both in the main OR for other surgical services to reduce wait lists, and create more space in endoscopy and reduce the wait list as well. And by having this dedicated space over the past year, we've quadrupled gynecologic services and tripled cystoscopy services, and created a really nice patient environment with high quality care. The suite is named after Deanne Reeve, and two of her really good friends banded together and organized a group to obtain donations to fund the renovations and the setup of the suite, and we named it in her honor.
For us, the biggest benefit of the Deanne Reeve Pelvic Health Suite has just been really improving our efficiency in the hospital, utilizing the hospital space to the best of its ability. We have our own dedicated set of nurses, which has been very nice for specialized care and urology. Moving here has allowed us to improve and increase our efficiency, seeing more patients, performing more procedures. Really, that's helpful with a specialized team of nurses.
We've received exceptional patient feedback. It's better patient care, more timely care, plus it's reducing wait times in multiple areas of the hospital. It's really been a success, and at our 1 year mark, we're very proud of it, and it's working very, very well.
Onward and upward. Congratulations. Nice to see anything that improves wait times is a good thing for sure. All right, moving on here. Time for our first break on CTV News at 5. When we come back, a climate conversation.
We're 1.5 degrees warmer on average around the globe. The globe now holds 10% more moisture on average.
Heavy snow and extreme cold these days. Does our severe weather have anything to do with climate change? Details next.
Bobby's Hospice provides valuable palliative and grief support to hundreds of people every year. You can help Hospice Greater St. John by enjoying the annual Valentine's Day Gala, Saturday, February 14th. For details, call 506-632-5593.
Welcome back. For many Canadians, this harsh winter has been defined by extreme weather with a lot of snowfall right across the country and more on the way in the coming days. The CTV's Paul Hollingsworth reports experts say these severe storms are linked to climate change.
92-year-old Jean Heckman will not be denied her daily walk, even on slippery sidewalks.
It's nice to get out of the house, but I don't want to fall.
But Heckman's outings may soon be on hold because of more snow in the long-range forecast.
Well, you have to put up with it.
Retired Environment Canada meteorologist Jim Abraham studies the weather daily, sifting through scientific data.
When you see extreme events occurring, it's fascinating.
Abraham says recent severe winter storms impacting many areas of Canada are directly linked to the effects of climate change.
We're 1.5 degrees warmer on average around the globe. The globe now holds 10% more moisture on average.
Which means rainfall and snow amounts have become heavier than normal across all seasons.
There can be at least 10% more, if not even higher amounts, higher extremes in precipitation.
According to Abraham, the Arctic is warming more than 2 times faster than the equator, which affects the jet stream, causing extremes in weather patterns, like the one that dumped a lot of snow on southern Ontario.
When you're in a cold, damp pattern, it tends to last longer because of this meandering of the jet stream.
This severe weather has brought packed snow, a lot of it. When the warm weather returns in the spring, the snow will melt, run off, and be absorbed into the ground, which is good news for the areas that experienced extreme drought last summer. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Thank you very much, Paul. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth talking about the weather. Everybody's talking about the weather in some capacity these days, Kaylin.
I mean, if we're looking for another advantage when it comes to receiving snow from these weather systems, there's certainly the possibility of that with that late weekend weather system, is that it does help build up the snowpack, which can help with the groundwater table as we work our way through the spring season. We're looking at the view here. This is Moncton, looking out towards the Petitcodiac River. The tidal bore was flowing today. And I'll have more in the forecast coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Kaylin Mitchell joins us again. Kaylin, it seems like we've got a bit of a pattern forming here. Sunday into Monday and beyond.
Currently, that is the time frame to watch. You know, the larger scale patterns around the globe. Talking about things like the jet stream. They do run in waves, and sometimes those waves set up so that you have a brushing with these low pressure systems approximately every 4 to 7 days. So right now, seems like 7 days is the magic number.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at what's going on for our sunrise and sunset times. We take a look at some blue sky that's in place for the Halifax Harbor for today. It was a cold day. It was breezy as well. We can hear that wind a little bit. Winds for today around the Maritimes, mostly out of the west and the northwest. They continue that way into this evening and tonight. Barometric pressure is on the lower side. We are kind of surrounded by a number of low pressure systems, but none of them directly in place for us. There's going to be some increasing cloudiness for the Maritimes for tonight. This cloud cover is coming in from the north. It's coming in from Labrador over the Gulf of St. Lawrence over Quebec, so moving north to south into the Maritime region ahead of a stalled frontal boundary off of a low pressure system that's out just off the coastline of Labrador. Accompanying that cloud cover in some cases will be some flurries. One of the parts of the Maritimes that has a higher chance of flurries for tonight will be northern areas of New Brunswick. Other parts of the Maritimes moving into the overnight that have a higher chance of flurries developing include Prince Edward Island, locations in Cape Breton, and there's likely to be some ongoing flurries in the southwest of Nova Scotia. That's been the case over the past couple of days as that northwest wind keeps some colder air blowing in over the Bay of Fundy. So taking a look at our timeline for cloud cover and precipitations, you can see the grays here by midnight becoming more widespread around the region, showing that increasing cloudiness. Blues up there in northern New Brunswick indicating the higher chance of some flurries. And then generally in the forecast for Friday, it is going to be cloudy periods with scattered flurries around the Maritimes. Now there is a potential for these flurries to accumulate in some areas over the next 24 hours, maybe as much as 1 to 5 centimeters locally. There are some higher amounts showing up around the north of New Brunswick. You can see 5 to 10 centimeters sort of being indicated around the Edmundston area, as well as up to around Campbellton, Dalhousie. Actually, for the communities themselves, I think 10 centimeters is pretty unlikely. I would maybe expect 5. But up in some of the higher terrain in the northwest of New Brunswick, more mountainous areas, that's where you could see some of the snowfall totals start to climb up a little bit higher. Taking a look at the forecast for those winds remaining mostly out of the west and northwest as we head through tonight. And, you know, not much change with them in the forecast for Friday either. Still out of the northwest and still with some fairly widespread gusts. It could get up to around 30, 40 kilometers per hour. So it's going to be cold again for tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit in the blustery side. You know, think about that wind chill if you can. And you're dressing for the elements. Make sure that outermost layer is as windproof as possible. Taking a look at low temperatures in the forecast for tonight for the province of Nova Scotia. They're mostly falling into a range of -9 to -15. Down around -16 for Charlottetown and many communities in Prince Edward Island tonight. And most of the low temperatures for New Brunswick between -14 and -17. Here's a look at the highs in the forecast for Friday. Very similar to today, which means they're expected to be several degrees below zero. Start of the weekend, no big issues for us other than the fact that it's still going to be quite cold. Actually looking at a fair amount of sunshine or with a fair weather mix of sun and cloud. The period again that we need to watch out for, especially for Nova Scotia, is going to begin Sunday afternoon, extend into Sunday night and into Monday. Let's take a look at our weather watcher for tonight. And tonight's weather watcher is coming in from little Glenn McNeil, 7 years old. And little Glenn has sent us a drawing of working on putting the Christmas lights up on a snowy day. Thank you, little Glenn. And weather watchers can come in to CTV Weather Watchers, P.O. Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J2Z4, or email kaylin.mitchell@bellmedia.ca. Maria.
Thank you, Kaylin. All right, so there's a new scam targeting people trying to sell their used cars. The CTV's Pat Foran shows us criminals tamper with vehicles to make the owners think they have serious problems, and then they get away with a steal of a deal.
I feel violated.
Mark Rafi and Carol Crawford of Paris, Ontario were selling their 2016 Hyundai Santa Fe. They listed it for $7,000 on Facebook Marketplace. Two people came at night to see the vehicle. One man wanted to inspect the trunk.
And he was looking underneath the mats and looking for the spare tire and had me completely occupied. So I was not aware of what the other person was doing, who had gone around to the car, opened up the hood.
It's believed after opening the hood, the man sprayed oil throughout the engine compartment. When the potential buyer started to go for a test drive, he stopped and backed into the driveway.
The other gentleman who was hanging around the driveway squatted down and sprayed or inserted something liquid into the tailpipe.
After a short drive, they returned, and smoke was pouring off the engine and out of the exhaust.
There's all this white smoke coming out, and the other guy who was in the driveway comes running around and says, look, he says, there's oil everywhere.
Rafi says the two men told him the engine had blown and the car was worthless.
It was like, oh my gosh, something must have blown because there's oil everywhere.
He was asking $7,000 for the SUV, but was convinced to take $1,000 just to get rid of it. The two men paid in cash, took an extra set of tires, and left. Rafi told his wife what happened. That's when they checked their security video.
We saw everything. I said, we've been scammed. I said, this is a scam.
This is a case of seller beware.
An auto fraud investigator says criminals will put oil on the engine and in the tailpipe to make the car smoke and appear to have serious mechanical problems.
They really presented a convincing story to the owner that his car has blown the engine.
Rafi is upset he was scammed out of $6,000 and that he trusted the two men.
To be taken like this, I don't know how somebody sleeps at night after doing this.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Thank you, Pat. Another thing to look out for. All right, taking a break. When we come back, well, we saved this story for last.
I'm Ryan McDonald in Sydney, where the brand new goaltending coach for the Montreal Canadiens has deep roots. And he shared a close connection here with the future Hall of Fame goalie they call Flower. That story is coming up.
Welcome back. So some hockey news now that comes with a maritime connection. As CTV's Ryan McDonald shows us, when the Montreal Canadiens changed goalie coaches yesterday, they hired a guy whose dream of reaching the NHL started to take flight in Cape Breton.
Stepping onto the ice as the Montreal Canadiens' new goaltending coach yesterday was a moment decades in the making for Marco Marciano, a man whose journey to the NHL has deep roots in Cape Breton.
Ever since Marco moved in with us when he was in his early 20s, he's been a really hard worker and been a great goalie coach.
Janelle Hawkins and her family billeted Marciano more than 20 years ago when he was goaltending coach for the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles. One of his proteges and housemates at the Hawkins residence was a guy named Marc-Andre Fleury.
Marc-Andre went to the NHL and then came back a few months later, and they were both under the same roof, which is kind of an interesting story because now look at them, you know.
I've known Marco since I've started with the Eagles probably 18 years ago.
Cape Bretoner Scott Guthrow reached the American Hockey League as a goalie coach and worked alongside Marciano with the Eagles when they were younger. He says his friends' many years paying his dues with the Habs AHL affiliate in Laval have paid off.
For him to get the call now just shows his character and the perseverance that he had.
To boot, Marciano was born and raised in the Montreal area, where the Hawkins recently visited him and his young family. With his 44th birthday coming up on Monday, getting the NHL promotion in his hometown seems like an early present.
I think that was always the dream, but I mean, I would say it was pretty far off when he first started, but he worked for it and here he is.
And it's another reason, perhaps, for his old friends here on the island to watch Habs games. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
Just another reason, because there are so many to watch the beloved Habs. Thank you, Ryan, for bringing us that story, and congrats to Marco. Outstanding.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Absolutely.
Okay, so you have been a busy bee, and you will be for the next few days as well.
Yeah, for parts of the Maritimes, the end of the weekend not looking so fantastic, as that's when we may be dealing with our next round of some heavy snow and some high winds. So we'll take a look at the latest updates, the latest developments with that weather system as it's expected to develop and head in our direction, and that'll be coming up in CTV News at 6.
We'll see you and Todd and Katie at 6 o'clock. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody. The national news is next.